How people find work. To start our day off on a positive note, I'm going to introduce a poll, an interactive way for us to engage with you and see what your opinions are. We'll have two polls during this presentation. I would love to see your responses. In a moment, you should see a new window populate on your screen that says polling. Go ahead and click on the polling phrase and go ahead and answer that question. All right, one moment. I just got to upload it. Right. And open poll. All right. So the first question, how did you find your last job? Was it a newspaper advertisement? Was it a help wanted sign? Was it online, a job board such as Minnesota Works, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or not LinkedIn and Facebook, but on those networking? That would be more of the LinkedIn and Facebook. That's your social media side of the Facebook networking. Traditional, is it the traditional side, which you're going to see family, friends, and colleagues? I'll let you answer those as you submit your answers. I encourage you to turn up that volume and find a comfortable but not too comfortable space to set up for the morning. Free yourself from those unwanted distractions that we hold in our hands as this workshop is going to change some perspective and hopefully may find your next position. I want to let you know that your questions do matter to us and that we will be getting to them at the appropriate time during this session. And looking at the results, how did you find your last job? We had one person say networking. Then we had a few say online job board, which was 6. And then we had 14 say traditional networking, using social media, engaging with everyone. And that's how we're going to find 80% of the jobs. And we had 29 on responses. So this is pretty good. We are hopeful that we can change some of those perspectives of how you're going to find your work. I know a lot of people in the chat said Indeed, Minnesota Works, LinkedIn is how they like to find work. And I love that we saw LinkedIn on a few of those. So we are hopeful that this workshop will help you recognize different methods for job searching, identify perks of using the state's labor exchange, such as Minnesota Works, which was a good segue. Compared to the other third-party job boards that you've listed, like Indeed. The importance of balancing your job search strategies, improving your current networking efforts, such as cold calling, the elevator speech, informational interviews, and demonstrated how the role of social media, although it's ever-changing, is here to stay. Referencing back to that first poll, we can understand that people find work from any number of advertised sources. That is why we always encourage job seekers such as yourself to focus your search. Focus that search to an industry, focus that search to a career-specific job board. IT, for example, is dice.com, and that yields results. Set up certain days to cruise different websites if that's part of your job search plan, and allow yourself ample time to network. A common problem we've encountered with many job seekers are that they tend to have tunnel vision when it comes to looking for a job. They narrow their search criteria to a word, a phrase that might be outdated, or they search by an occupation that is declining. Therefore, we encourage job seekers, such as yourself, to look beyond that job title. In the chat, you'll find a useful tool to help you look beyond that job title and compare previous positions to current occupations. Other ways job seekers, other job seekers fall in love with the ease of applying online with the click of a button. And I'm sure some of us have done that. If there is one thing you take away from this session, is to avoid mass applying. You should not be submitting 20 to 30 applications a day. You're just throwing in basically a hook in the water, and hopefully the big fish bite. It's not well baited. So avoid that mass applying. In fact, avoid applying directly through any third-party website such as Indeed, as this will only cloud your job search success. I just had a job fair in Alexandria, I would say in the last month, and I polled the 50 employers and I said, what place do you want them to apply for? And they all said their company website, if it's relevant. Very few said Indeed, although all of them had Indeed. They said Indeed, they get applications from California, from Canada, from New York for jobs that they know they're not going to relocate for. So it just clouds up the applications. Instead, what we want you to do is prioritize what you find. So if you find a job on Indeed, find Minnesota Works, go to the company website. That's what I like about Minnesota Works. It directs you to where to apply. It doesn't say apply online 99% of the time. First, apply for those positions you know you're going to be a great fit for, not for that silly quick apply feature, but with a tailored resume that tells the appropriate story on how you are the right person for the position. If you're skimming the job boards and you find your dream job, verify it is a true job. Don't use those links that are written in the posting. Instead, do your due diligence. This is what I do. I go to Google or my favorite search engine, and I'm going to type in there the company's name, the location, the job title, and see what pops up. If I can find the website, I'm going to go straight to that, and I'm going to apply directly through that website. So use caution on the internet, as there are some people that use Craigslist to find jobs. As you can guess, you might want to have that caution flag at the ready to throw if it was football season. If there are no caution flags thrown regarding the position, respond immediately with a tailored resume and cover letter through the company's correct employment portal. Unfortunately, closing dates are not written in stone. Some dates are assigned, but many of the private sector jobs will close after appropriate number of applicants have already submitted their application for hire. To make myself stand out from all those other applicants, I like to call and talk to the hiring authority directly regarding the position if able. Ask for a complete job description. This is something that you can do with the state. They'll tell you right at the bottom of the application, any questions regarding this position, please contact XYZ. Call them. Let them know that you're interested in applying and you want to see the complete job description, not just the job posting. You can also at that time ask about the expected closing dates and who you can tailor a cover letter to. If there is no luxury of connecting with the employer before applying, just try to follow up with a phone call, post submittal, typically within the 2 to 3 week window. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up just because you were talking about it, and it was a question that came in very relevant to your conversation. You know, a lot of people are concerned about safety online. So, you know, what can you do to keep yourself safe when you're applying for jobs? You know, even on Indeed, sometimes the positions aren't legitimate. So, what are some kind of best tips or best practices for keeping yourself safe when you're looking for work?
Due diligence, first and foremost. Always look at it. Look at the company website. If it looks like if there's spelling errors in the job posting, there's a concern right there for me. If I see a lot of spelling errors that aren't common. Another thing that I will do is research the company name. Go to LinkedIn. I will use LinkedIn as a source to see if that company is existing. How many people are currently working there? Click on those profiles. View how many people are within that company, and that's going to give me a good idea or a good sense that that is a legitimate company. So that's one thing that I would take away is do that due diligence, research the company, call. Those are some things. Art, is there anything that you would do?
Exactly what you said. Research the company. Do not apply for a job without looking them up online. You know, you want to make sure exactly there are great jobs on Craigslist, you know, but that is someplace to be very careful about because you're more likely to have scams on there than you would on, let's say, Minnesota Works, where we very carefully vet all the employers, or Indeed, who, you know, chooses to vet. Of course, there's scam on the internet, but there's a lot, you know, also a lot of great opportunities. So researching. I'm going to combine two questions, then we'll move on here. You know, you talk about reaching out to an employer. You quite often run into gatekeepers, you know, that don't want to give you that information. So any tips, Sam, on how to kind of get to the person you need to talk to get those job descriptions, to get those closing dates?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite techniques is picking up the phone 1 or 2 days ahead of the time that you're going to call and say, "Hey, I'm interested in learning more about this position. Can you direct me to the individual name who I should be contacting?" And they're probably going to say, well, it's going to be my HR. Let's say Jennifer is the HR. And you get transferred to that gatekeeper. The gatekeeper transfers to you that universal voicemail. The next day, maybe a day after, I pick up the phone again and say, hi, my name is Sam. Is Jennifer available? Simple on that one. It's going to get past that because they think you have a personal connection with Jennifer. So that's one tricky way to get around the gatekeeper. Another way is if it's not too far to travel, just go in and talk. Say, hey, I'm interested in an informational interview, and we'll talk about those informational interviews in about 4 to 5 slides. So I'm going to save it for that part. So we're going to just jump into what we've talked about, or Art mentioned, as well as you have mentioned in the chat box. What is your favorite websites to use when you job search? And one of those was Minnesota Works. So as Art said, we do vet our employers posting on here. Currently, Minnesota Works is the state's largest labor exchange. More or less, it is a job board. It's an online job board where you can access hundreds, if not thousands. I think there's over 100,000 job openings right now across the state and bordering cities. What separates this website from familiar online job boards such as ZipRecruiter, CareerBuilder, Indeed, or LinkedIn is that Minnesota Works is 100% free to both end users. That's the employer side as well as the job seekers side. So if that employer doesn't have a huge budget for marketing, they're going to go ahead and post on this website. So we're going to see a lot more unique positions posted across Minnesota Works as well from smaller companies. You see, most of those online job boards that I've seen, anyone with a credit card can post a job online. I've seen a poop scooper for picking up trash and stuff like that, and I think the job title was poop scooper, up in the Wadena area on Indeed. So crazy what you can find on there. Only on Minnesota Works, employers who are looking to hire within Minnesota will be considered. They can't be from, that employer can't be over in, let's say, South Carolina, unless they're looking to hire within the borders of Minnesota. In fact, all employers are heavily vetted, as Art said, prior to accessing Minnesota Works, which has been known to minimize that riffraff, that scammers that are out there. As a job seeker, this is exciting for me and should be for you, because you can take that virtual flag that you had out and put it back in your back pocket, and you can be and you can start cruising along Minnesota Works looking for the next opportunity. Currently, as I said, there's over 100,000 jobs posted and less than 12,000 resumes available to search through it. So employers can also find you on Minnesota Works. Did you know that you could have 5 active resumes on this site? So you could have one for each job title that you've held. You don't have to put in a month and date. It doesn't have to be in that chronological form. It can be saying, hey, you know what? I was an accountant before. I want to get back to that. So you go ahead and throw that accountant over there. And it just helps you really get out there and sell yourself, because you can say, I'm no longer interested in doing this. I don't even want to put it on my resume. So employers can look at your past ones. The last survey that was conducted by DEED, which is the Department of Employment and Economic Development, stated that 66% of employers who posted on Minnesota Works filled a position from an applicant from Minnesota Works. That's pretty huge. 85% of those who searched for jobs found jobs to apply for, and 47% of the job seekers out there who applied for jobs were contacted for an interview. So it's a great resource to use. It's free for you to use. A little archaic right now, but there are big changes around the corner, so we're excited about that. As you advance your job search, we understand that applications can be a barrier between you and the jobs you're aiming to get. A strategy that I have found helpful to an open vacancy is put more effort towards the job than the average applicant. If they don't say cover letter, write a cover letter. If they say do not write a cover letter, do not write a cover letter. Follow simple directions. If a position is open, call to verify that the position is open. That's another thing that happens on Indeed. People get really excited about this job that just posted on their feed. They quickly go, they get their application ready, they went to submit, and then it says, sorry, the application is closed, and something like that. Just call, pick up the phone. We are humans first. Let's not use that artificial intelligence. Let's just pick up the call phone and give them a call. Nothing is more frustrating to me when I'm creating a resume for that dream job that closed or was never existing. Asked to speak to that hiring manager, as I said, who will be reviewing the resumes. Get their position title, because this will help you draft your cover letter. Get the position title and correct spelling of both the first and last name. And if possible, as mentioned before, ask for the job description. Ask for that complete job description or breakdown of the skills needed to be emailed directly to you. That way you're getting your voice out there. You're saying, hey, I'm a real person. And it's just getting that hiring manager excited about meeting and seeing a resume from a quality candidate such as yourself. Even though many of us have found success in the past by looking for jobs online, moving forward, as I said, 80%, 75 to 80% of your jobs will be found through people you know. That's worth a Google. Just jump over there and ask that question. What's the best way to find a job? And they're going to say networking. We encourage you to balance your online job with other job searching activities such as attending conferences, networking events, volunteering, and participating in group outings. Get away from this computer and get out there. It's a beautiful day today. 70 degrees in some areas of the state. You lucky. I don't think we're getting up that high. I think we're in the 60s today. So I'm happy that you could join me and learn a little more about how to be successful in your job search. Even though before moving on, I'm going to open up another poll. So everyone, I'm going to open up another poll. And like before, you'll have approximately about 30, maybe 45 seconds to complete this poll. And if you have any questions so far, now is the time to throw them in the chat, and we'll try to answer any lingering questions before we move on to the next one, who is in your network. So I'm going to go ahead and open that poll. And the poll is, how many people are in your network? Is it, or average person know, is it 10? Is it 50? Is it 150? 300? 600? And I have to say, Art, as the results are flying in right now, this question gets a variety of responses. So I'm going to see that it's going to be split. It's not going to be a bell curve by any means. So as you submit your final thoughts to this question, ask yourself, how many acquaintances does the average person know? We're having people chime in on the chat, 20. So great responses on this one as we're coming to a close. So the results that I got, 0 people, first time that I've taught this, that said 10 people. 0 have said 10. We had 5, say about 50. We had 150. We had 6 people say about 150. We had 7 suggest 300, and 3 600. And that's interesting. So before we move forward and answer the question that is also worth another Google, I want to explain who is in your network. Although your network's going to be bigger than you think, try reaching out to past friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, and others who are genuinely interested in your well-being. Those are the ones who will also be interested in your success. But with the labor shortages that we're seeing across the state of Minnesota, across the United States, employers are offering bonuses to their employees for referrals. So they're getting a cash incentive to get people in the door who are going to last longer than 6 months or a year. Start spreading the word that you're open to new opportunities within your traditional network and on your social media network. That's your LinkedIn. That's your Facebook. Let them know that you are out there and you're currently transitioning from one job to another and explaining and you're exploring new opportunities. Even if you're in between jobs or thinking about switching jobs, go ahead and throw that out there. Let people know. It is humbling to see how others will go out of their way to help you jumpstart your career by leveraging your and their personal network. So it's kind of crazy. So what is the answer to our last poll? It would have to be in the hundreds. So 300 plus, even all the way up to 600 acquaintances. This doesn't mean each one of them will be invested in our future. The graphic you see on your screen right now is the 6 degrees of separation broken down to like the 4th degree, which was coined in like 1967, and it's still relevant today. If it is Not what you know anymore, but more so who you know. And you've heard that before. I recently read an article that said referred applicants are 15 times more likely to be hired than an applicant who is applying through an online job board. So it's great to let people know that you're out there. Go beyond simply applying. Find out who works there and connect the dots back to you. And that's why I like LinkedIn, because it tells you who's in your second degree and your third degree. Robust job searching is about connection and not perfection. There is no perfect job strategy that will work for everyone except networking. Today, with the use of social networking, I would theorize that it would take less than 5 connections to reach any one person on this earth. I just looked at my social media accounts. I have over 500 Facebook friends and close to 500 LinkedIn connections. Less than 10% of those is probably connected across both platforms. Whether you are job searching online, looking through the help wanted signs, there is one strategy that separates itself from the rest, and it is called informational interviewing. We'll share what that is in the next few slides, but let's talk about the steps to get there first. The first step is, of course, becoming organized. Find an employer you want to speak to and prepare some honest questions regarding their company or available options. Write those questions down, maybe even create a script. A script is a good way to stay on task to make sure that you are focused. And we want you to be focused and not scattered brain. So keep a script, something that is tangible with talking points. They can't see what you're looking at while you're talking to them. I'd rather be over prepared than under prepared and overwhelmed when I'm talking on the phone. Step 2, before you call, practice out loud. It helps to hear how you sound, and it will help you to avoid too many filler words such as or like in step 3. When the phone call is about to happen, find an environment free of distractions. I personally like the car, den, office, or bedroom, but please stay away from those empty rooms such as an unfinished basement. It will sound as if you're in the bathroom, causing an unpleasant echo. And if you are in a bathroom, that's your only quiet place. Do not flush the toilet or turn on the sink, because people start thinking what's happening. Step 4, dress for success. Not like a suit and tie or an extravagant gown, but comfortable jeans, a sweater, button down, or polo shirt. And finally, the last step on step 5, as you speak with the employer, smile. You sound happier, you're pleasant, and your voice naturally fluctuates. Those who are unable to see you speak can hear your smile, and the brain paints a picture. So I'm going to throw those 5 steps in the chat if you want them, just a little brief one. And we're going to jump over to how to make that contact with the employer. If you have followed those 5 steps, which are going to be organized, practice, free yourself from distractions, dress for success, and smile, and put the extra effort into researching the employer, making a connection with them comes off so much easier and it's less daunting for you. Networking should never start off with, what can you do for me? What jobs are available? How much do you pay? Where do I apply? Those questions demonstrate your inability to research, and your sole interest is self-improvement. We know it's going to be self-improvement, but we want to change how we come off. If you want to impress an employer, like really impress them, have a lighthearted and brief conversation. Let them know that their time matters and that you would like to have a further discussion to learn more about the company and go beyond what the website and news articles have stated, and ask them for that informational interview, that coined informational interview. Stay positive. You will probably hear no a little more than yes. But on the off chance that they are willing to have that scheduled conversation during their coffee break, dress neatly and get prepared, because an informational interview is a powerful networking and research technique. It is an effective tool to meet with an employer or someone of importance at a company, stand out from the rest of the applicants that might apply for a job moving forward, and go beyond a name on a future resume. It is important to note this is not a job interview, and the objective is not to find job openings. Simply put, it's networking. It's my favorite way to network. when I'm transitioning or before I transition from a job. You may feel awkward reaching out to people you don't know, as we've been taught our whole lives, stranger danger. However, with the hiring markets and positions available, and most people enjoy taking a bit out of their day to reflect on how their professional life, how they got to their professional goals, and give advice on someone else's interest in the field on how they can obtain their goals. We always encourage, if you are awarded that informational interview, to be prepared and direct the conversation, but also let the conversation flow naturally and encourage the interviewee, which it could be that supervisor or the employer, to do most of the talking. We want to learn about them. We want to learn from them because this is networking. As the conversation closes, follow up with a physical thank you letter or email expressing your excitement to learn about their personal journey in their successes. And if possible, ask to connect with them on social media such as LinkedIn. You don't have to do Facebook right off the get-go. Go with LinkedIn. Most of those employers will be on there. From TikTok resumes to Instagram portfolios, job seekers are devoted to finding innovative approaches to get noticed by employers. But for the most part, there are only three pillars of social media that really deserve our attention at this moment, and that's going to be LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Because you can put hashtags on any of those website platforms, and they will pop up like, hey, jobs hiring on Twitter, and it will pop up, or you could also do it on Facebook or LinkedIn. So I just want to talk about one of them today, and that's going to be LinkedIn. So the primary goal of social media is to help you connect with people and stay connected, build communities and groups, share ideas, interests, and information regarding your chosen profession. What started as a simple service amongst friends has now evolved into kind of like a mandatory part of creative job search. It is a creative way to job search. The benefit of using networks is to grow your professional brand in terms of relationships, building, portfolio creation, resume building, and all. They're all endless. LinkedIn is a professional networking site. You can apply for jobs through LinkedIn, and recruiters use LinkedIn to find potential job candidates. Facebook used to have a job board. They no longer have that because I believe they realized that LinkedIn is a better place for people to post jobs. Facebook, Twitter are also those social networking sites. Keep separate from your professional networking on LinkedIn. Be careful about what you post online, as you've heard it before. It can come back to haunt you. Consider Googling yourself and see what information pops up. If you find something concerning on Google, like your name, it is like one of the top 10 most wanted lists on the FBI's, adding your middle name or middle initial can separate you from that axe murderer from Colorado or whatever. So we want to make sure that we separate ourselves from those. Many, if not all employers, will look you up if considered for the position. Check out the link in the chat box to see what is popping up on your Minnesota rap sheet to a potential employer. LinkedIn is no longer just a place to find people. But we're going to get to LinkedIn here in a moment. Art, what do you got going on in the chats?
Well, I've got a question that really drives what you're going to be talking about, kind of sets the stage. And we get this a lot. What if you're thinking about switching careers? How do you brand yourself on LinkedIn? Because many of us have a variety of jobs in the background. How do we create a focus on the needs of the industry we're trying to attract?
Yes, so we're going to be breaking down LinkedIn pretty heavily in the next coming slides. So the first thing I would say is if your resume generally matches what your LinkedIn portfolio is saying, go ahead and share that on your resume that they can access your LinkedIn account. You're giving them a direct link to your LinkedIn account if it's a general match. Now, if your LinkedIn looks pretty heavy on one sector and you're no longer interested in that sector, go ahead and just put the job title and the company name and maybe a brief description, but focus heavily on the job past experiences that you want to return to or switch into. If you have no experience in that whatsoever on those, just minimize all that. You don't have to have a lot of specifications. And in your introduction, in your about me spot, that's where you want to say, hey, looking to change careers or expanding my abilities in this sector. Those are some steps that I would take initially just to make sure that you come off not as an accountant, but as a different thing. Let's say a social worker. Totally two different spectrums right there. So saying that you're attending school for social work, whatever it is, you put that in the about me. And then you also put different job titles that you're interested in having moving forward in the title section right underneath your name, where it says, hey, facilitator and all this stuff. And we'll demonstrate exactly where that's going to be here in the upcoming slides. So bear with me. We'll get right to it. I'm going to love it talking about it. And if you have any other questions, please throw them in the chat. It makes a great conversation piece as we move through this, the last 20 minutes of this session. So LinkedIn is no longer just that place to find people. It is a place for personal and professional growth, a place where businesses can grow, a place of economic growth, and a place that makes a difference in personal lives and professional lives. It's a community where you can be inspired, build relationships, and discover unexpected opportunities. And for those who are hesitant on LinkedIn, I've heard many different ways that they're saying, none, it's not for me. One of them is my favorite. I'm not a professional, so I don't deserve a professional website such as LinkedIn. So we went on LinkedIn and we found a job that was right for her, that was just down the street. She was a professional cleaner, and she got a resume on LinkedIn and all that stuff. And we applied using her LinkedIn account. So it was really nice because she was able to get that interview. She realized that she is a professional. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You could be a stay-at-home parent, mom, father, whatever you might be. You can be that. We just have to specify what you did under that job title. I had another job seeker state, LinkedIn is so depressing. All it talks is politics. He was misinformed. He was thinking about Facebook. So he just assumed all networking sites were not advised for career search. My favorite has to be, I'm too old for LinkedIn, or vice versa. The younger generation says, you know, that's for your Gen Zers, your millennials, your baby boomers. Plain and simple, LinkedIn is a professional platform. Whether you're considered a boomer or Gen Z or Gen Alpha, I think is the next one, it appeals to all and doesn't discriminate. So regardless, if you're an avid or new user to the LinkedIn platform, the first thing you need to do is update all the information on LinkedIn. In fact, you need to become that LinkedIn All-Star, as it increases your chances to be hired or recognized tenfold. So for that question earlier, what can I do? This is what we're going to have to do. We got to become that all-star. We got to switch ourselves around and make sure that we are communicating our skill sets to the employer or potential employer. The first step to all-star status, and how many, I'll ask this question, how many people know what an all-star is on LinkedIn? So go in the chat box, say me or no, yes, no. That's probably going to be a lot easier. Yes, no. Okay, we got a bunch of no's coming in already. So let's talk about an all-star status. We see that's coming in. So we're looking at these profile pictures. We got 6 profile pictures up here. Which images do you consider are appropriate for LinkedIn? So go ahead and just put A, B, C, whatever ones you think are important. Here's some recent data on LinkedIn. Only 51% of users have a fully completed profile. We understand starting something new can be intimidating, but if it's used right, LinkedIn is worth your time investment. If you need motivation to finish or motivation to keep going, any type of motivation on LinkedIn, reach out to us. We're located at 50 different Career Force locations across the state. We have professional staff that can answer these questions. And if you need that motivation, just call us. We're going to be happy to help. We'll jump on your LinkedIn account. We'll give you some pointers, and ask for a review of your profile, and or set it, if you don't want that personal assistance, go ahead and set a deadline and write it down on a post-it note, hang it on your computer. Hey, I complete my all-star status. So include a professional profile picture. We got a lot of responses, a lot of BCDFs in there, but we're going to talk about what we feel is going to be more important. Having a high quality profile picture is important to getting noticed on LinkedIn. Having an image on LinkedIn has been known to 21 times more profile views than users without one. So it gets a lot of views. Looking at the chat, we can see that everyone has a different opinion. So let's break it down. What is in his cup? If we look at A, what's in his cup? Is he a scientist or is he in a frat? We don't know. He could be holding up a bio. I don't know. So I'm a little concerned on that one. B and C, excellent quality and compelling light. Love B and C. D is a busy background. So if you look in the mirror, you can see that there's a lot of people in that mirror. E is just poor lighting, desaturated. And F, although it's a high quality photo, compelling pose, half the face is taken off. So we only see right here. We don't see anything by the crown of the hair. Even though my public profile picture is a hair outdated, it clearly shows my face. It is well lit, ideally with daylight. And looking at it, I clearly need to ask for a headshot or get a headshot because it's not a clear representation of myself, and the poses are rather stiff and non-energetic. So even I can work on my profile. So I encourage you to do it, and I know I need to do it. So I need to take my own advice, put that post-it note for a headshot here in the near future. Here's something I recently found out. Some of the state-sponsored career fairs actually advertise free LinkedIn headshots. So you can go to a career fair. Sometimes in the cities I've seen them where it says free LinkedIn headshots. Awesome. You can get that and you can start building that if you don't have a professional camera. Usually these cameras on Apple and Samsung and the other users have great pixels. So those are another way you can use it. Just make sure the right lighting is available. Step 2 is have a headline appear to be so your goal with your headline is to appear in more searches and articulate your value to a position or a proposition. There is no magic formula when it comes to writing a perfect headline. Your headline should align with what it is you're looking to achieve on LinkedIn. Ask yourself, who do you want to find you? What are they searching for? Answer those questions while you're writing your headline. It's going to be great for you. Now, one thing that I recommend and helped another person is put coffee lover. If you're a coffee entrepreneur or you really love certain things, throw it in there. It will be a talking point. It's another way to just make it more personable on LinkedIn instead of all this professional jargon. So step 3. Provide your industry and location. So when we look at this step, it's probably one of the easiest ways to get closer to this all-star status compared to the other two. When editing your profile, make sure you enter your country, postal zip code, and your industry. These areas tell the recruiters that you reside in, where you reside, and what industry you're looking for. A lot of recruiters will search for job candidates on LinkedIn using the industry and location settings. So if you leave this blank, you'll be left out of a ton of search results. So let's go ahead and throw that on there right away so you can start ending up in those feeds. For this one, experience, you'll need to include your most current position plus 2 prior positions as long as they're relevant to the job. I would minimize it if it's a jumper job, and you can talk about jumper jobs all day about 3 months here, 2 months here. Stay away from posting those jobs. We want to show consistency. According to Forbes, LinkedIn members with current positions are discovered 16 times more in recruiter searches than their profile view, and their profile views increased by 29 times. So the experience points here, just like on your resume, should be achievement based and targeted towards your desired job or field. You don't put everything on your LinkedIn profile. It's more of a snapshot of what you did, your daily scope, your duties, and maybe 1 or 2 quantifiable bullet points of something that you believe is very close to the heart, something that you want to share with your network. So use your resume as an inspiration, not the whole thing, and make sure you revise any copy and pasted errors that may show up from transferring from one site to another site. Step 5, include 5 skills. To achieve all-star status, you'll need to include at least 5 skills. This is also a pretty easy one that you can do. LinkedIn reports that users with 5 skills are or more are contacted 33 times more by recruiters. 33 times more. So make sure you just get those 5 skills on there: a picture, some experiences, industry, location, and a relevant headline, and you're well over halfway there. And as an easy way to find which keywords or skills you want to put on your resume, what I do is go to 5 to 10 jobs that I'm searching for, and I will see common things, certain words popping up over and over across those 5 listings or 10 listings, and I'll be like, yeah, I have that skill, and I'm going to throw it in there, and I'm going to ask for some endorsements under that skill, and you can do that through the people you know. And step 6, work on that summary. Out of all the sections in this post, to become that all-star status, this is the hardest section to nail down. This is where you really have to focus on. If you're switching a career, you have to say, this is where I'm interested, this is what I've done, this is where I'm going. It's hard, but we can help you get there. Include these key points when you're trying to create a strategy. Or a strong summary. An opening statement that clearly shows why you're on LinkedIn. A summary of your work experiences and your most impressive and relevant skills. Make sure to include relevant keywords here to help increase your chances of appearing in recruiter searches. A few bullet points, focus on your achievements rather than your duties. You can quantify your achievements with numbers and even start your bullet points with an action verb to demonstrate your value. A closing statement about types of opportunities you're looking to go for and what makes you excited about those opportunities and why they should get in touch with you. Be sure to include your contact information, a way to connect with you. So if I'm working on a summary with a job seeker, we narrow it down, we pick what they're looking for, and we put some buzzwords in there, and we really focus on where they're navigating to. And step 7 is education. The biggest benefit of adding the education to the all-star status is it gives you an opportunity to connect or be found by fellow alumni since you have built-in connections. This section is also really especially important if you're a recent graduate or a student, because you have shared connections across that industry, colleagues, as well as alumni. So the last part of the all-star status is really hard to get unless you're active on LinkedIn. And I'll tell you a quick little story. I'm helping a gentleman who attended this class. He had his first connection was me. After this class, he got a LinkedIn account. He now has surpassed me in connections. He's out there, he's doing the daily grind, he's reaching out to people, he's building up his network, and I'm happy to announce he just received 3 or 4 job offers through LinkedIn. So he's kicking butt at it. And it took like 6 sessions with me, but we got him up there, and now he's excelling. He's a success. So it's about what you put into it. So the last part, get those 50 connections. So the 50 connections, to reach all-star status with the 50 connections, you can connect with others by sending them an invitation or by accepting their invitations. You can also jumpstart your connections by allowing LinkedIn to match you up with people from your email address book. So those are the easiest way to go out there. Another way to start is simply by using the search feature and find companies that you want to work for and connect with your ex-coworkers that might be there or people you may know through your network. Establishing connections and interacting is a core part of LinkedIn, and the platform will reward you in search results if you have more connections. Every minute, this is straight from the CEO last year, every minute on LinkedIn almost 200 people join, 9,000 connections are made, 4,500 applications are submitted, and anywhere around 3 to 5 people are offered a job or get a job. That is every minute. So networking is the key to success when we get there. And it's difficult even under the best circumstances, but networking while unemployed can be especially uncomfortable. If this is a struggle, if this struggle is real for you, networking while unemployed is not as intimidating as it may seem. In fact, here are a few simple strategies you can do on LinkedIn to make the whole process easier and more productive. First step, grow your network. When LinkedIn became mainstream in 2010, you may have unintentionally accepted an invitation. If you have less than 25 connections or you no longer use that email, go ahead and create a new one. Go ahead and create a new LinkedIn account. It'll walk you through the steps. If you do have an established connection, click on your connections and scroll through all those second and third degree suggested connections. Add a little personal note and a short statement on how you may have met this person or where you may meet them in the future. And number 3 on this one, endorsing and recommendations. Of those new connections that are established, view their profile. I get a kick when people view my profile and I get notifications that said, you've had 25 views in the past 9 days, whatever it may say. So it's nice to see that people are using it and go into your account and trying to use it to see if there's a connection available. Go to their account and endorse them. You may have unintentionally or intentionally written a recommendation. You can add a personal note if you're going to write a recommendation. So whether you endorse or write a recommendation, I encourage it. I think you need to have 3 recommendations too to help you achieve that all-star status. Before it is sent, add that little personal note and say how you came across it. Follow and connect. LinkedIn has over 830 million members with over 58 million registered companies. Follow up with the companies you desire to work for and go ahead and follow them. Just follow them. Click on those who are in HR just so you can see that you dropped by, just so they can witness that, hey, you're a person and you are actively seeking relevant content. Speaking of posts, increase your LinkedIn traffic by sharing articles relevant to your profession. Try adding a hashtag or an article before publishing another. Another strategy is to engage with your connections with a name drop in the comments. Most importantly, invest your time into LinkedIn. Do not allow your account to become idle. There are a ton of tools that help people, such as videos on LinkedIn. You can have videos. Not a lot of people know about that strategy. Hashtags. We're starting to see more people with hashtags incorporating their subjects or their little notifications that they're sending out, and incorporating an interview prep tool. And that's a fun, exciting one that I think we all should use. So elevator speeches and the videos, with video being the next mega trend, you've seen LinkedIn has added a more human way to connect with others by introducing stories, along with other social media giants such as Instagram. This is allowing account holders, those LinkedIn individuals, to replace those essential water cooler moments with a short clip, a 30-second elevator speech of how to get to know you. And for those moments when the face-to-face meeting is the best place to get things done, they've also added a video call over Teams. So you can have a video over Teams. You can do it by BlueJeans over Verizon, or Zoom directly from the message thread. So that's kind of a new and innovative strategy where you can connect and have an informational interview. With the influx of younger users joining the platform, is catering to those needs with video elevator speeches. To add that video elevator speech, tap on your profile phone photo through your mobile phone. So you have to do it through your mobile phone. It will not work through the computers. Last time I checked, this feature does not work on that desktop or laptop. Tap add profile video and you can introduce yourself in a 30-second video. After sharing your video or after completing that video, add the hashtag when posting content. You want to be searchable. When creating content for any social media posts that you want traction, we do encourage you by adding a few hashtags with a simple phrase or word. 3 at most is my recommendations. You can have more, you can have less, but having a hashtag is a useful tool for networking, finding job opportunities, and sharing your own job search to get noticed by employers who are using the social media to recruit. How do hashtags work? Well, what's the best way to use them? If you use platforms, social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you're probably familiar with hashtags. A hashtag is simply a # followed by a word or phrase. It's a shortcut so people can search a certain phrase and it yields all those results. So that's the purpose of a hashtag. What's trending, basically. So hashtag open to work. For the longest time, being out of work was shameful, and job seekers were apprehensive sharing something so personal. Today, it's a 180-degree turn around. Job seekers are transparent. It's okay to be transparent and honest in your posts. Your network wants to know you. They want to support you. They want to hire you. Therefore, your network of connections, employers, and recruiters should know you are open to work. When this feature was launched at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, early results show members with the open to work photo frame are receiving 40% more emails from recruiters and 20% more messages from LinkedIn community. Whether you choose to use this banner or not, we do encourage you to use the next feature, as you will be able to engage with your network even further. And that's the interview tool. So I'm really excited to share this last tool as we finish our time together. So if you have any burning questions, please throw them in the chat, and remember to reach out to your local career force as has a network of professionals that are ready to assist you with any of your job search questions in LinkedIn. Excuse me. Navigating to the next session from your LinkedIn page is somewhat confusing without demonstration, so I'll give you a link and a quick rundown of how to get there. So first thing you got to do is sign into your LinkedIn account or create that LinkedIn account. Once you are in select jobs, that will be that little briefcase at the very top of your screen, kind of in the center of your homepage. Then click on the interview prep, which I believe is on the left side. It may have switched recently. If you want that direct link, it will be sent to you as well. This link covers the 26 common questions. Interview prep unravels the questions employers ask and why they ask them. The categories, they also have if you feel the common questions are not the normal ones you would encounter in your professional, because the 26 are generic ones. You can also select from a categories drop down, and it could narrow your search into 14 different industries or occupations. So engineering, accounting could be a few of the examples. You can also gather feedback. Once you've reviewed these strategies and committed to a response, you can either type a response up or record a video to gather feedback. And you can share that intelligence with, or not that intelligent, but that response with your first degree connections. The artificial intelligence side will monitor your filler words and tell you how fast you talk. Do you need to slow down? Are you saying like, or those type of filler words, and tell you a little more about it. You can also share it with that first level connection, as it's a great way to gather feedback and see how you delivered it. So on the top, how is LinkedIn going to help you moving forward? There are tons of different things. In fact, there are endless topics we could have talked about on LinkedIn, but there's not enough time. As you can see, we're coming up on time right now regarding LinkedIn. But what we can share can have, hopefully what we shared, have immediate impact on your job search. And if you are new to the LinkedIn platform and would like to create an account, you can watch a video on the virtual and interactive site that we have on our website to get some ideas of best practices. Art, are there any questions coming in? I know we're just on time.
So two things real quick. I just put a link to the vast majority of the answers to any questions you have. LinkedIn has the best help menu of any website I've ever interacted with. The other question is, how do you reach out, or how do you get help with your LinkedIn account? As Sam has mentioned a few times, we will also include in the follow-up email, the locator allows you to find the closest career force location to you. And it's really important to establish that local connection, because they're going to know employers in your area who are on LinkedIn. And they're going to be able to help you, maybe even with an in-person one-on-one, but they can also help you over the phone or through a online, platform like we're using right now. And that is free. That was a question. Does it cost? It does not cost to get help with your LinkedIn account. And then just one more, just quick comment. It can seem overwhelming. If you're new to LinkedIn, it can seem like, oh my gosh, there's so much here. This is not for me. Start with building a profile. Once you have a profile put together, start adding some connections, and you'll find that LinkedIn will even prompt you to help you to say, here's the next step. Stick with it. It's a low level thing to do, 15, 20 minutes a day in your job search. You're going to find benefit with it. And I'll turn it back over to Sam. That's my little spiel to answer as many questions as I could.
All right, thank you so much, Art, with all those questions. As I said, this is a lot of content to come through. If you have any important questions, if you want to direct them my way, I'm free to answering any questions on, you can give me an email, shoot me a call if you have my contact information. So thank you. Thank you for joining us today to stay inside during this sunny, beautiful day. And remember, tomorrow from 1 to 2:30, we'll be hosting a interview workshop. You can find that information on our Career Force from Anywhere website. All the relevant resources, links, and a copy of our slides will be sent out on an email associated with the Minnesota Works account within the next 24 hours. Again, thank you for joining us today.